Hello, everybody.
We're sick.
We are both sick. Yeah, you're going to hear it. It is us, I promise. I sound like an old woman.
Oh, I do too.
Note to self, I can't laugh. Otherwise, it turns into coughing. So this will be interesting. But welcome to Historia. We are here for spooky season nonetheless. We're not going to let you down now.
Oh gosh, no. I'm Jamie.
I'm Kylie. So welcome to spooky season episode 3, I think.
2? Yes, 2. No, 3.
Yeah, because it's already the 18th. There's just a lot of weeks in October.
Is it really the 18th already?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Wait. 16th.
Oh, still.
I know, that's wild.
Gosh, this month has gone by so fast. I see the leaves are all changing now.
They are. There's a yellow tree in front of my house. You see it?
Yes, I do.
There's 2 of them.
Yeah, we went to Glenwood yesterday. Mm-hmm. Technically Glenwood. It was like Carbondale, whatever. Because we went to go see Crystal Mills. Mm-hmm. Which, if you don't know what that is, it's like a bumfuck nowhere. And it's like this old mill house. Like on the river. Or on the creek. And it literally has just like aspens everywhere. It's one of the most, like, look it up. It's one of the most like appealing fall photos in Colorado. And we tried to go there. Little did we know the drive there was bullshit. It was so rocky. Like, it says that if you have 4-wheel drive to like drive through there, but it doesn't tell you that it's a one-way lane with God. Like 0 pull-offs.
Oh.
It was such a hot mess because you had a bunch of people going down and then you had a bunch of people coming up. It was awful that we didn't even end up going to the mill because it was already almost like 4 o'clock at that point. And I was like, we need to head back. James is like, enjoy yourself. And I was like, but he was getting really pissed off too about like everybody just being assholes, like for the one way. And I'm like, well, this place is literally in the middle of nowhere, so it doesn't have any funding to like make proper roads. Mm-hmm. So this shit's gonna happen. But like people are bringing their big ass trucks because they're 4-wheel drive. So it's like finding room to navigate around them is impossible. Mm-hmm. But I have to admit, Jenny did a really great job. She is my Forester.
Oh, I was like, who's Jenny?
She's my Subaru Forester. And she's all-wheel drive, but she did really great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure I got a big scratch now on my car. It's okay. I'm probably going to keep her anyway.
Yeah. Well, how's it going being married?
Oh, yeah. It's been like a week.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great. Just
Isn't it so different? Everything changes.
Oh, yeah. No. Well, granted that I've been sleeping on the couch for at least half of it.
Yeah.
Half of this week because I've been sick and I'm pretty sure I got James sick.
Yeah.
So that's how it's going.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at least we're getting sick now and not during Halloween.
Yeah, this is true.
So
hopefully.
That is a plus.
I know. I'm trying to drag James to go to Elitch's on the 30th.
Oh.
If you would like to come.
I'm off that day. I'm doing like a soup cook-off with my family.
A soup cook-off?
Yeah, we're all making like different types of soup.
What are you making?
I don't know yet. I don't know. I think I'm going to do like a potato soup of some sort.
Ooh.
So, I don't know. I've never made soup, like homemade soup. I don't cook that much. I use HelloFresh. Not sponsored, but it should be one day. But yeah, we've been on the couch this whole week, and, you know, with that means I've been watching a lot of movies recently. This is my segue to the episode for today. So.
Are you doing like a iconic?
It's more of like a, I mean, yeah, but not like super iconic.
Oh.
I don't know. Should we jump in?
Yeah, I'm curious.
I'm doing a doll today.
Oh, Annabelle?
Yep.
Yep.
And I have to show you this picture I drew of her.
Oh my God.
Okay.
This is why we're not artists.
I know, right? So I watched all of the Conjuring movies this week.
Oh.
Because, like, I've seen them all. Well, I've saw them all except the last two. Or the last one. The Devil Made Me Do It or whatever.
I thought we went to the theaters together.
That one?
Yeah.
No, I think that was Conjuring 2.
No, we saw the last one.
Oh. I didn't recognize it.
It was like a year and a half ago.
Yeah, no, I totally forgot it existed.
Well, it's not the greatest one.
No, it's not. I actually really like, obviously the first Conjuring's pretty good, but the Annabelle creation, that one's really good. So I'm going to talk about all of those and kind of how they go with like the true story. Since I was like, I need to rewatch the movies because I saw like, I didn't see the second one ever. So I had to watch that. And then I was like, I might as well just watch all of them. So that's what I did with my time. But I'm really glad I did this one because she's so spooky and dolls are terrifying to me. There's two things that get me: dolls and robots.
Dude, I should have done the Doll Island.
Oh God. Next Halloween?
I might even go into November.
Oh shit, now I'm scared.
Well, I don't know how much there really is to it, but like, watch the Ghost Adventures episode. It's freaking crazy.
Oh jeez. My voice. Have you seen the trailer for Megan?
Megan?
It's like a robot that like takes over this little girl's life. It looks terrifying.
No.
I hate robots, but that looks scarier to me than like any movie that's ever existed.
A robot movie?
She's terrifying.
Oh my God.
I gotta show you the picture. She's creepy looking.
Freaking Megan. Megan.
You gotta watch the trailer. It's like...
Dude, you better believe there's gonna be like Drake and Josh memes on that shit.
There is. Oh yeah. See, she like looks like a person. She's like... It's just the fact of like, oh, look, I have a doll for you that's your best friend. And then it turns on her, you know? Because robots can turn on us at any moment. Just like dolls. So...
Oh my God.
So yeah, today we'll be talking about Annabelle the doll. And I got my sources today from... I watched a really good documentary on YouTube from the Paranormal Scholar. And then allthat'sinteresting.com had some good info as well. So I didn't read a book or anything. Sorry, but
I feel like for that...
Yeah, it's like, I don't even think they have a book.
Well, they probably do on like Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they do. They have a ton of books on them, but
yeah.
All right, so we're going to take it back. Now, a lot of this information is like, again, it's kind of like the Myrtle's Plantation where it's like, okay, did that person actually exist? Did it happen that year? So when I say this, there's multiple versions of like what the year actually was. Mm-hmm. I think in the movie, it said 1967 or 1968. But then, like, a lot of my other sources were saying 1970. So it was around that time. There was a girl named Donna. She was also named Debbie in the movie. And then in some stories, her name is Debbie. And then other times, her name is Daedry. So she has, like, 3 different names. But I'm going to call her Donna because that's the one I'll probably remember easiest. So there was a girl named Donna Bernard who received a doll for her 25th birthday. She thought it was like a quirky and fun present. And unlike the movie, it's actually a Raggedy Ann doll. If you all have ever seen an actual picture of her, she looks nothing like the movie. She's just your typical Raggedy Ann doll. So,
which is more terrifying.
Oh, yeah, for sure. The button eyes.
Button eyes. Soulless button eyes.
Oh, for sure.
Take it back, Coraline.
Yeah. Because, like, with those, you know, you just think of it as another Raggedy Ann. Like, when you see the movie version of her, I would never touch that thing. So her mother gave it to her to bring cheer to her daughter's apartment. She felt like there wasn't a lot of, like, excitement since they just moved in. And her daughter, so Donna, is studying to become a nurse with her roommate. So her roommate also lives with her. And she's happy about it because she's like, oh, look at this cute doll we have in our apartment. This is going to be so good. And so each morning, she would basically just put the doll on the bed with her arms and legs stretched out. So after she'd make the bed, she'd put the doll on top and kind of just like stretch her legs out. She would do this day after day. Over time, she started realizing that when she'd return at night, the doll would be in different positions. So sometimes the legs would be crossed. Sometimes her arms would be crossed. Sometimes she'd be like, have her hands in her lap and kind of like crouching over. Be like, throw this thing away. Just kidding. The arms would point outward sometimes. And it felt like she was like gesturing to something. Mm-hmm. So like they would be in different directions at different moments. And it would also move. I think this is the creepiest part. She would move from different rooms by herself. So like she would start off in like Donna's bedroom and then go to her roommate's Angie's bedroom and then go to the living room. And so she would just like end up in different rooms. So her roommate, Angie, she also had a fiance. And whenever the three of them were in the apartment, they all just felt like there was something eerie happening. So it's not like your movies where it's like one person thinks there's something going wrong. Mm-hmm. They've all kind of noticed things. And so they're like, okay, let's start leaving her on the couch and see if she's still in the living room when we get home. And so that's what they would do. They would put her on the couch in the living room. And then they would come home and she would always be back in Donna's bedroom with the door shut. Yeah, so one time Donna returned home with her roommate and her roommate's fiance, and the doll was kneeling on a chair and like staring at them. So the last time that she saw the doll and they all left at the same time, she put her on the bed. And so they come back and she's like kneeling on a chair. And so they're like, someone has to be messing with us. Like, there's no way that this is happening. And so when they saw the doll kind of like crouching over, they went over to her and like tried to get her to kneel again. But they weren't able to because she's a doll. So she doesn't have like bones, you know, and joints. So she would just like fall over. And so there was no way that they could put her back in that position that she was in. So there was some force that was obviously like keeping her up, because they couldn't do it. So then another weird thing that happened was that they started finding notes that were written in parchment paper that were everywhere. And they like have never bought parchment paper before. So they were like, how does this happen? A lot of these messages included like, help us, different things like that. In the movie, it's like, come find me. And then it's like, you found me or something like that. But they didn't think that this was like urgent or an emergency. They're just like, it's just someone messing with us. Like, I'm sure we're fine. Plus, when they like started telling other people, they're like, you're crazy. And they're like, yeah we are. So they kind of ignored it for a bit. But another weird thing about the notes is that they didn't have pencils in their apartment. I don't know why, because they're studying, but whatever. And the notes were written in pencil on the parchment paper.
Oh.
Yeah. So they began to think that someone was like breaking into their home to pull a prank on them. So they were like, okay, we're going to solve this once and for all. We're going to see if we can like, see people's like footprints coming in the house and different things like that. So they would leave like marks around the windows and doors. And then that way they would like powder, you know, different things like that. And then they would rearrange the furniture as well, hoping that if someone did break in, they'd at least leave a trace. But they ended up never seeing the marks move, and it never looked like someone broke in. And the doll was continuing to teleport from one room to the other and was still changing positions frequently. So one day, this gets a little crazy. They saw the back of the doll's hands covered in what they could only assume was blood, because it was like red.
Oh god.
Yeah. And then she also had 3 marks of blood on her chest, and they were terrified at this point. Angie's fiance was in the apartment one day, and he knew that something was a little weird, but he was just like, it's a doll, guys, relax. Mm-hmm. He said that all the time. And Annabelle's listening. So one day he was in there by himself, while Donna was gone, and he was in the living room, and he heard some like rustling in her room. And he's like, wait, I thought she was gone. So he knocked on the door and he's like, Donna, are you in here? And she wasn't. So when he opened the door, it seemed as though nobody broke in, but Annabelle was lying face down on the ground. Other sources say that he was attacked at this point. So instead of like him going to the room, they will say that he was taking a nap on the couch, and then she came out and attacked him and woke him up from a nap. But either way, both sources do point back to the fact that after this happened, he felt a searing pain in his chest, and he had bloody claw marks running across it.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and so he tried to go to the doctor and show them, but they disappeared 2 days later. So there was really no proof that this happened. So Donna and Angie contacted a psychic medium for help. Obviously. Why not? You know? And the psychic said that they had channeled a spirit of a 7-year-old girl from the doll. She used to play in the area long before houses were built. So it used to just be fields. And so there was a girl who would run around named Annabelle. And so the spirit of her wanted to go into the doll. And since her death, her spirit wandered the fields. I think I already said that. So when the apartments were built, she felt lonely because everyone was gone all the time. You know, when you're in an apartment, it's usually like people who, you know, have stuff to do. They're leaving all the time.
Yeah.
You don't really see like big families that often in apartments. So she just kind of felt like there was no one to hang out with, and she's all sad. Until she saw a doll get there, and she finally had something to play with. So it was kind of like her inner child coming out.
Yeah.
And they also thought that the young people in the apartment, you know, like Donna and her roommate, because they were so young, Annabelle, the actual spirit, maybe felt that the young people would be more sympathetic with her. And they were. And so she thought maybe they would allow her to play with them. So through the psychic, the spirit asked if she could live in the doll and be with the two girls forever. And they after hearing like the story about Annabelle and like, you know, a little girl who didn't have anyone, they felt bad for her. And so they said yes, that she could live in the doll.
No.
Yeah.
That's demonic shit right there.
Yeah. And then, yeah, they found out her name was Annabelle Higgins. So then they started calling the doll Annabelle Higgins. So this is when the true haunting began, because now she has a place. And, you know, the big concept of demons is that they want a soul. And that's kind of what she's going after this whole time. So the two girls began to treat her like a living being, like taking good care of her. Yeah. Giving her food, like letting her sit with them all the time. The doll became Annabelle. It was no longer a doll. It was like a person to them. And I get it. Like, they probably didn't want to mess it up because they're like, we have to treat her with respect. We don't need her turning on us. But like, also, no, don't do it.
Yeah.
So Cal, which is the name of the fiance, he was pissed that they did this.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah. He's like, y'all, are you stupid? Like, this is not a good idea. So he thought of her as like a voodoo doll who was going to trick and manipulate them and take advantage of them. Like, he's like, guys, how do you not see this? So he would have like conversation after conversation with them about this. And Annabelle's listening, of course. So she sees that he's a threat and she's like, I'm going to turn against him.
Oh, God.
Just wait. So in the following weeks, he had terrible nightmares that he couldn't control and ill feelings. So he was just sick all the time. He like, there was just so many things he like was so weirded out by and that he like didn't control. One night he woke up to her strangling him and he pushed her away hard, but she wouldn't move. It was like he explained it like he was trying to push away a wall. So he eventually managed to free himself, and after he told them this, they're like, oh crap. And so all of them kind of see her starting to escalate more. And they had a feeling that their lives were in danger. So they decided to contact a local priest who contacted his superiors, who then contacted the paranormal investigators, Ed and Lorraine Warren, of course. They arrived at the apartment and heard their stories. They decided that the happenings were the result of a demonic infestation, and there really had never been an Annabelle. It was all just a story, a trick of a demonic inhuman spirit messing with the unsuspecting medium. So like it was someone who the spirit was basically just trying to convince the medium something different.
Yeah.
And like say a fake story basically so that they'd feel bad for her, them, I don't know. And so when they actually agreed to let the demon possess the doll, they also agreed to the doll being able to inflict harm.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, obviously, but 70s, man. What a time.
Letting everybody do dumb shit.
Right? So if they would have kept it unchecked and like didn't tell anyone about it, it would have killed all of them in a couple weeks.
Oh,
That's
God.
basically what Ed and Lorraine were saying. And so Ed contacted a priest requesting an exorcism. The priest did so and blessed the apartment and all residents that lived in the apartment. Donna asked if the Warrens could take the doll home with them, and they agreed. Annabelle was in the back seat of their car when they instantly felt the presence of a demonic spirit in the car with them. Mm-hmm. This happens in second Annabelle. So like the actual Annabelle movie.
Yeah.
They kind of do something like this where like Lorraine's in the car by herself because Annabelle made their car die.
Yeah.
And so they kind of point to this a little bit. But basically the car was plagued and it made it stall and cause the power steering and brakes to fail. Ed even lost all control of the car at times. They came close to multiple accidents on their way home.
Jeez.
Yeah, so the third time after it stalled, Ed brought out a vial of holy water from his equipment and splashed the doll with it. For the rest of the drive home, it didn't bother them. When they got home, Ed placed her in a chair next to his desk. During the next 4 days, the doll levitated and teleported to different rooms. The levitating part gets me. You just like look up and she's just like, hi. Also, Ed and Lorraine are so brave. Love them. When Lorraine was home alone, she heard loud growls that reverberated throughout the house. So she's hearing like this growling noise. And so a priest decided to visit them just to like talk things through and talk about like how they wanted to continue. Mm-hmm. And when he picked up the doll, he laughed. And he told the doll, "You're just a rag doll, Annabelle. You can't hurt anything." Mistake number one. Ed was kind of like, you really should not do that. And then the priest was just laughing. He's like, guys, this is so funny. It's just a Raggedy Ann doll. This did not go well for the priest. When he was about to leave, Lorraine was like, had this weird, cause she gets like, she's kind of like, not psychic, but like she has visions and can sense things. And so she had a feeling that like something bad was going to happen. And obviously from their experience of having Annabelle in the car. Yeah. But now that he's messed with her, he's going to take her home. Like, so she's like, you need to be really careful out there. And now she's all worried about him. A few hours later, his car was found totaled in a car accident after his brakes had failed. Jeez. In the years that followed, a lot more incidences occurred, including at least one death, which we'll talk about. But Ed and Lorraine had her placed in the glass box with a warning, positively do not open. That's what it says on the box. Huh. This story inspired multiple books in the prequel to the Conjuring, Annabelle movie, in 2014. And then they made the Annabelle Creation, which comes before it, and then Annabelle Comes Home is the third one. The actual evidence that the doll is possessed is very small. So there's not a lot. There's little to prove that that all of this was true in the story. We're basically just taking Ed and Lorraine's word. Yeah. Because the other three like talked to them, but there's no recording of what they were actually saying. Like there was in the movie. So even confirming the names of those involved is difficult. Like I said earlier, sometimes Donna is named Deidre or Debbie. Sometimes Angie is named Laura, and sometimes Cal is named Lewis or something like that. So like they all have different names. Yeah. And a lot of people, you know, with like the Warrens, they've always been kind of like what's the word? Like people don't always agree with them. Yeah. Obviously, because like they're doing something that not a lot of people do. And so a lot of people think that the way that they handled the case was alarming. The reason for this was because when they first met with Donna and the others, they didn't collect really any evidence. So they're just kind of going off of their stories. I don't know who would like take time to lie about that, like a doll getting possessed and doing those things, but
I guess it depends on like how famous they were at that point.
Yeah. But like it just seems to me like they weren't, I don't know. It was just like they're in school for nursing. They don't have time to like make up some story. So the idea of it being a demonic infestation was the first thing that they came up with, and it was the only conclusion that they drew. So that's another thing people think is suspicious. Like, you don't think it's anything else? We don't want to try to treat it like something else. I'm like, what else could it be? So not to say that the original 3 people were known to lie, but the Warrens never really considered like them maybe misremembering information or misinterpreting information to be a possibility.
Yeah, because witnesses are probably, they like in, like for a crime or something, witnesses are not really reliable, because if you ask, like if there's like someone gets stabbed in the middle of the street, the police are going to ask like 15, 20 different people who witnessed it.
Yeah.
And you better believe they're all going to have different stories. So
for sure.
Not one of them is going to be exactly word for word of what happened, because everybody has different interpretations of what they think happened. So using witnesses for like certain things can actually be unreliable, because you really don't know if that's like the truth or it's like what they thought that they saw.
Yeah, it's so true. Yeah. It's like, what's the truth? Who knows?
Yeah.
But one thing that is stated a lot is that like after the priest came in and like blessed the home, the 3 of them felt like a weight off their shoulders. They felt this big relief. And some people are like, it could have just been them like convincing themselves that it was gone.
Yeah. And
then it stopped. Or just like, you know, the positive presence of religion, like something like that. But some even question if the 3 of them ever really existed. The Warrens were always regarded as sincere and kind-hearted, but there were a lot of people who didn't agree with what they did and thought they were kind of full of it. Yeah. So since founding the New England Society for Psychic Research in 1952, their work has attracted much controversy and criticism. That was the word I was trying to think of, controversy. They profited from book sales, ticket sales, to their museum that they had. And then also like they would do like, not TED Talks, but they would like present and talk about different things with lectures, and that cost like $5,000 in the 1990s. That's when they were really big on like talking about their experiences. So they did dedicate a lot of time to their paranormal research. It's not like they were just like making shit up. Like they researched, they were around for decades. And you could tell that they like actually put in the work. Like they had a huge museum of different things. Yeah. That's really hard to make up all of those different stories, but a lot of people just didn't find them very credible. So,
I mean, you're always going to have those types of people. Right. Because, I mean, I'm sure, like, every object and stuff had a history of its own.
Yeah.
But, of course, like, people are going to be like, well, it can't be haunting. But it all comes down to, like, what you believe in. So.
For sure. So, I think, if I remember right, Ed died in 2006. And then Lorraine didn't die until 2019. So, I think it was Annabelle comes home at the end. They say like in memory of Lorraine, because it was the year that she died. But even after Ed died, she was still giving lectures at age 90. She actually kind of led the couple. Like she was like the bigger one who like people kind of knew her better a little bit, because she like had these like supernatural powers as well. One thing about them is that they were always honest and professional in their research. It was unreasonable to criticize them for making a living. Like all they're doing is finding something they're passionate about and making a living out of it, which a lot of people can find controversy with anyone. But, you know, it was their job and they took it seriously. So we're going to talk about the museum. So the Warrens Occult Museum was the oldest and only museum of its kind. Annabelle is there. I accidentally wrote the wrong there, but we're going to ignore that. English. I know, right? The story that inspired the movie Haunting in Connecticut was inspired by the real family. And the author of that book that led to the movie knew this family, like knew of a real family that went through this. And as he was interviewing them, to like be able to write a book about them, he was hearing different versions of the story. But he knew that the family had met with Ed and Lorraine. And this has nothing to do with Annabelle, but it just kind of shows you like why people think Ed and Lorraine are full of it. Because knowing that this family also worked with the Warrens, the author met with Ed asking what versions of the story he believed were actually true. And then Ed said, "You've got some of the story. Just use what works and make the rest up. Make it up and make it scary." So he did what Ed told him.
Yeah.
And so when people heard about this, they're like, "Oh, how dare you? Like, you're making things up." But I'm like, isn't that what's entertaining to people?
Literally.
You want us to just put like, "I don't know what happened. Oh, well." Like...
Yeah, because in that sense, it's like you're trying to find like entertainment purposes
Right,
for it.
right.
Especially when it comes to like stories like that. So, of course, he's just like, I don't know. Like, we met with them briefly. Like,
yeah, make things up. Like, it's not like he's like, just pretend all of this happened. It's just like, you have to make it scary. It's loosely based off of it. Like,
yeah. That was actually one of the first like horror movie or scary movies that like I really watched.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was A Haunting in Connecticut.
That's a good one.
I think that came out in like, what, 2009?
Something like that.
Yeah, it was.
It's on HBO. Yeah, all the scary movies are on HBO.
Oh, are they Annabelles?
Yeah.
I might do that.
That's
today.
how I watched all of the Conjurings and Annabelles. Yeah, they're all on there. And I think I saw Haunting in Connecticut, and then
Classic.
I believe Insidious is too, but
that one.
Yeah, it's a take it or leave it. I really like the vibes in Conjuring. Like, I like the, like, 70s feel.
Yeah.
I think they're really well done. But because of that situation, a lot of people found them untrustworthy.
Yeah.
I get it, but again, you have to be able to entertain people. And, like, writing a book, you have to be able to fill up pages. Like, you can't just write, like, a 10-page book. So, for the rest of his life, Ed would periodically say a prayer over the box case with Annabelle, ensuring that the spirit and doll remained trapped. And they would hire a priest. I believe a priest came every week or 2 weeks just to like say a prayer over the whole museum. And they always treated Annabelle as if she was the most possessed.
Yeah.
They knew that she was the most powerful, and so they really gave her like extra love and extra prayers. Since being locked up, she has not moved, but her spirit more than likely found ways to go somewhere else. The Warrens consistently said throughout their career that spirits do not like to attach to toys or items, but rather people. And so it's not going to just stay on a doll.
Yeah.
It's going to leave the doll. They aren't going to stay in objects for long. So even though it might have, like, the spirit that's in it, or it could have collected multiple spirits, even though it was in the doll, it could leave and then come back. Like, it's going to be attached to the doll, but it's not stuck in the doll.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Well, it's a museum too, so if there's people going through.
Yeah. So later on, the priest, I forgot to mention, he survived the car accident, the one that took Annabelle home. He survived the accident. He claimed to have seen her in his rearview mirror before he crashed. Yeah. Years later, a visitor tapped on the glass of the box and laughed at people believing in her. And on his way home, he lost control of his motorcycle and crashed into a tree. His girlfriend was with him. He died, and his girlfriend barely survived.
Jeez.
So she was able to claim that they had been joking around about the doll right before it happened. Yeah. So she really likes to take control of, like, vehicles.
Yeah.
The Warrens' legacy was carried on by their daughter, Judy, which is what the third Annabelle movie is about, and her husband, Tony Spera. Ed considered Spera his demonology prodigy and entrusted him with continuing his work, including taking care of his occult artifacts, including Annabelle. Makes sense. You can't just, like, die and then hope that Annabelle's okay.
Yeah.
Like, you have to make sure other people are trained on what to do. So Spera now is in control of the occult museum and warns visitors about Annabelle's powers. He states in it that it is the most dangerous object in the museum. Spera compares messing with Annabelle to playing Russian roulette. There might just be one bullet in the gun, but would you still pull the trigger or put it down and not take the risk? That's how he feels about her. So they take it very seriously. No one's allowed to touch the glass. Everyone has to be washed with holy water before they enter and say a prayer, basically. So it's taken very seriously. But There were rumors of the doll's escape during COVID, actually.
Oh, yeah,
when it
I
closed
remember
down.
that.
Yeah, I think it was right before COVID. It was like in 2019. They had to shut down the museum, and because I think like people were trying to mess with it. And so Tony actually ended up making a video. I actually watched it, and he was just letting people know that she's still there. So he was like, "Hey, this is Annabelle. She's here. Looking good, Annabelle." Like, you can tell the way he talks to her. He's like, "Don't mess with me. Please don't kill me." And so he made a video letting people know she's still there and showing her. She's still in the Warrens Occult Museum in Monroe, Connecticut. The museum is permanently closed as of 2019 and never opened again.
Oh.
Yeah. And I don't know if it ever will. I think they just kind of got to a point where they're like, we need to just like leave this be. We don't want to mess with it anymore.
Yeah.
Because there's other stories of things that have happened to people that don't have to do with Annabelle, but you can't tour in person. However, there are special events where you can rent or buy a video tour. When people would enter the museum, they were required to bless themselves with holy water, like I said. And there's a newer case that was built for her that was better for art protection and bigger. So they actually ended up moving her to a different case. There's a crucifix on top. They have the stain on the case that is infused with holy oil and holy water. And then they also have, in the background of her, they have the Lord's Prayer and the St. Michael's Prayer that are rested behind her, like on the wall. The priest comes to bless the museum anytime they move her. So like as they were moving her, he was there to kind of help with that transition. And they also have the film doll there. So the one that's in the movies, she's also at the museum because they're like, just in case, you know? So the Annabelle doll is actually, as I was doing my research, I found this out. She's actually touring around this Halloween. So there's a few different parades in Connecticut, and they're actually going to have her like there. They're going to like, I don't know how they're going to do it, like on a float or what, or maybe they're just putting her in a different museum for a little bit. But I'm like, that's risky, but that's happening this Halloween. So if you live in Connecticut, maybe go find that out, all the details for that. But yeah, real quick, I'll just kind of talk about, I'm not going to give every detail of the movie, but like the movie is just very different than the actual story. Cause the first one, the creation is about like, you know, how it came to be. So we see like, a few different orphans who move to a house that's has a spirit, and then it steals the soul of a little girl, basically. The little girl changes her name when she gets adopted to Annabelle, and then that brings us to Annabelle movie. So the original, where the girl is older and kills her parents, and then it's the spirit moves to their neighbor's house. That's the couple with the baby, if you remember that.
I don't think I've watched it.
Okay. Yeah. So that movie really takes place like haunting a couple that just had a little baby.
Yeah.
And wants the soul of the mom. So like, yeah, just watch it. And then the third one is Judy. So after Ed and Lorraine have Annabelle in their, in the movie, it's in their basement. But after they, one of like the babysitter's friends goes down there and releases her.
Oh.
She touches everything. Like on the wall, it's like, do not touch anything. She walks in and she's just literally touching everything. I'm like, how dumb can you be? And so it like attaches to Judy. So anyway, that's Annabelle. It's pretty wild, and I don't want to be mean. She's scary, but also lovely.
They also did a Ghost Adventures episode with her.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
I watched
fun.
it because it was like around like COVID and stuff, where they were doing where Zach and Aaron and Jay and the other guy, I can't remember his name, they were like doing because Zach Bagans has his own museum in Vegas, which I really want to go to.
Me too.
Yeah, my sister really loved it. But yeah, they were doing like primarily just investigations in his museum because they could do a whole freaking like series on it if they wanted to.
Yeah.
But pretty much like they brought in Annabelle and were doing like crazy shit. Like it was
my God.
Just like what they captured and stuff like that. And he was just like, Zach, he was just like fangirling when he saw her.
I love Zach.
But it's just
wow. Yeah, I found it interesting because, like, I don't know. I was like, I'm just going to research it and see if the movies are accurate.
No.
But, of course, they're not going to be.
Did they even cover the nurses in any of them?
They do. So, in the beginning of all movies, like, I think it's the beginning of Annabelle Creation, Annabelle, and then Conjuring.
Yeah.
Or it might just be Annabelle, Conjuring, and then Annabelle Comes Home. But there's 3 of the movies that they show them in the beginning, like answering questions.
Oh.
That's the only time we see them.
Oh.
So it's just them like talking about like, oh yeah, she was in my house and all this. But at the end of Annabelle, I'm getting all the movies mixed up. Yeah, the end of Annabelle, a mom buys the doll. She ends up like in a store.
Oh, okay.
And so that's where we infer that like after she went to the couple, she goes to the nurses, and then Ed and Lorraine take her.
Okay.
So it's kind of like, yeah. It's really, because I watched the movies in chronological order, because I didn't want to watch them in like release date order.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to see like how they go together, and it actually made a lot more sense that way. So
it's Creation, Annabelle, and then whatever the third one is.
Yeah, Creation, Annabelle, and then Conjuring, and then Annabelle Comes Home.
Oh.
Yeah, Conjuring is in between them because we see Ed and Lorraine kind of enter the picture.
Okay.
So, it's all about them basically. Mm-hmm. So yeah, and then Insidious 2, and then Insidious, Conjuring 2, and then the third one.
Oh yeah, because like I remember that anytime in the Conjuring films when they would, when like Ed or Lorraine would be in their like room, you would just see like Annabelle off the corner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Crazy.
It's wild, but I'm really glad I rewatched them. I'm glad I had time to watch them before this, because a year ago I would not have had the time, but now I have all the time. So it was cool to be able to do that. I've been trying to watch scary movies for Halloween. So,
you know, I was trying to as well, but then the freaking wedding and then everything else. So I've been trying to like keep up. James and I watched one. What the heck was it? Oh my God. I made him watch it. We tried to watch Scary Movie 4.
Oh, nice.
Or maybe it was Scary Movie 5. It was the one with Ashley Tisdale.
Oh, I think that's a 4th one. I don't know for sure. I can't think right now.
But I watched Black Phone. That was really good.
Oh, I've never seen that.
Oh my God. It is on Peacock right now.
Okay.
It's so sad. It's more of a thriller.
Okay.
But yeah, it was still pretty good. I like thrillers more than horror.
Yeah.
I don't do gore. I don't do gore.
I just feel like, I mean, like I've said this before, but scary movies don't affect me. Because I'm really good at like separating reality from like movies.
Yeah.
I don't know. They just like, they've never really affected me besides when I watched The Ring at 6 years old. Maybe that one just like messed me up forever. But, so I can just watch them like casually. Like I was home alone, was watching Conjuring and be like, okay. Like coloring on my app. So I don't know. But I do enjoy thriller more with the story, because I feel like a lot of scary movies are the same thing.
Yeah.
You have a couple moves into a house that attaches to the kid, and then the dog dies. Like it's always the same thing.
Yeah.
But I like it. It's cheesy. It's fun.
Yeah. My favorite though is Hush.
I love Hush.
On Netflix.
Yes. That one's so good.
It's so good. It's just, you're on your toes the entire time.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh my God, is she going to do it?
That movie's amazing. You still have to see Don't Worry, Darling.
I know. I've been trying to drag James to go, but he never wants to see it.
I'll go with you. I'll watch it again. I love that movie. Let me know when you want to go.
Yes, I want to see it just because of all the tea.
It's like, it was so good though. Like it was so much better than I thought it'd be. It's one of those movies that like, yeah, it's one of those movies where you watch the trailer and you're like, eh. And then you see the movie and you're like, the trailer did nothing to show this.
That's what I figured as much, because the trailer doesn't really cover really too much of like the plot, which honestly, I kind of prefer that anyway, because like a lot of movies literally give away the entire plot in the trailer, and I'm like, okay, so I know exactly what's going to happen. Yeah,
that always bothers me too.
Yeah.
I like mystery. And then there's like a twist at the end and you're just like, wah! And then Harry Styles, you're like, wah! So everyone has to watch it. Anyway, we just talked for like 6 minutes about movies, but it's spooky season, y'all.
It is. I mean, that's the best time to watch them.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Guess we'll end it here.
Halloween is coming out soon, so go watch that.
Oh, yeah. Halloween. Wait, it already came out.
Oh, did it? Mm-hmm. I don't even know what day it is half the time.
I like want to watch it, but I'll wait. I don't know. I don't want to see it in theaters.
I think it's on Peacock.
Already?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Or the first one, at least. I
it'll
don't know.
probably be on HBO too.
Well, let us know your favorite spooky movie.
Yeah.
Very curious, because I'm a little baby when it comes to scary movies. But if you give me one to watch, I will watch it.
And this is coming out the day we record.
Oh, yes. So,
I'm
yes,
be editing this right after.
please give us some spooky movie requests, and I will try to watch them, but please no Sinister. I can't do that one.
Really?
That is the one that got me fucked up.
Oh my god. Mine's gonna be that Megan movie. I already know.
We will discuss about more horror movies next week.
Well, I will say the scariest movie I've seen was AI. Have you seen that?
No.
It's a robot movie, but
Of course.
I watched it when I was little and I had nightmares about it for 3 years. So anyway, don't like robots. Okay.
Where can you find us?
You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube at Historia the Podcast. And then you can also email us at historiathepodcast@gmail.com.
Yay.
Yay. All right.
We will catch you next week for another spooky episode.
Yeah, stay
Got a good
tuned.
one.
All right. Love ya. Bye.
Bye.